Russia's economic problems are not yet acute or painful enough for Putin to end the war against Ukraine. After all, the rise in global oil prices has provided the Russian budget with additional revenue. Since the beginning of the year, the cost of oil has soared by almost 40%.
At the very moment right now, if you take a close look at the current oil quotes, you will see that oil is trading at the level of $92 for Brent crude. It is quite a significant figure to consider in today's volatile energy market.
As a result of the price increase, the Russian economy received about $40 billion in additional funds just in April-July. Thanks to this, the Kremlin will be able to continue the war against Ukraine at least until next spring, a European intelligence official told Fox News. At the same time, the new revenues do not solve Russia's economic problems. Its budget deficit has already exceeded annual forecasts.
The Russian budget deficit is currently approaching 7 trillion rubles. That's a huge sum, and how are they going to cover it?
The Kremlin is trying to cover the shortfall from several sources. It is selling government bonds and collecting more taxes from the population and companies. But how long can they keep this up?
Right now, Russia is effectively trying to squeeze out of its economy everything it allowed it to accumulate before this. However, the problem is that there isn't much left to squeeze out of this economy. And the resources to cover the shortfall in oil and gas revenues, which Russia has been accustomed to living on and to which it has adapted, are not that plentiful.
Right now, the Russian Federation is spending almost 40% of its entire budget on the security sector. That's about $200 billion, and the vast majority of that goes directly to the war.
That's about 15 to 20% of budget expenditures. And we understand that this is a record level, one that Russia has never approached in its entire history.
For one Iskander ballistic missile, Moscow shells out about $2.5 million, and in a single attack on Ukraine, it can launch nearly 50 missiles. That's already over $100 million. And this is at a time when, in the remote regions of the Russian Federation, people in apartment buildings still run to outdoor toilets.
Today there are wooden houses here, even 8 apartment wooden houses, and they go outside.
But today's economic problems are unlikely to force Putin to end the war, experts believe. They say the dictator would rather cut funding for medicine and education.
We understand that Russia's budget will adapt to the ideas and desires to continue the military operation. This will be reflected in one thing. Russians will start living poorer. Russians will start seeing slower updates to certain social things. Fewer roads will be built. Fewer parks will be built. All the products that are in the stores, they will become simpler.
Besides this, the Kremlin is terrified of a popular uprising and spares no expense to keep Russians in a vice grip.
They will continue to increase their spending on the repressive apparatus, which they have been doing since 2022, and they will try to maintain their spending on the military sector.
Therefore, a significantly stronger economic blow is needed to stop the Russian Federation.
What could force Russia to enter negotiations? First is hyperinflation. Second is the exhaustion of resources they can use to finance the budget deficit.
A critical reduction in the Federation's resources in the immediate future is unlikely. However, with each passing day, the Kremlin's capabilities are declining. International sanctions and Ukraine's defense forces are working towards this, and together they are giving Putin more and more reasons to think.
Ammunition or fuel is not being supplied to the front line. When there is no work, when there is no money, again, people... The third reason is economic problems when production stops. Our legendary armed forces of Ukraine are doing the right thing by striking oil infrastructure and centralized logistics supply facilities.
In just the last few months, Ukrainian strikes have disabled up to 40% of Russia's oil refining capacity. And even Putin has admitted that the attacks are already affecting the Federation's economy. Victoria Yarishko, We Are Ukraine, United News Marathon.
The Russian central bank's gold reserves have fallen to their lowest level since the beginning of 2020. This year, gold reserves have decreased by 50 tons or 1,600,000 troy ounces. Bloomberg reports this. Over the last 7 months, the value of Russia's gold reserves has decreased by nearly $34 billion, and the Kremlin's entire gold reserve is estimated at over 2,000 tons of the precious metal. Moscow has to sell it as well as foreign currency to patch holes in the budget. Its replenishment has decreased significantly due to international sanctions. The Ukrainian military struck the Novokubishevsk oil refinery in the Samara region. This facility is located 1,000 kilometers from the front line. The plant produces automotive and aviation fuel, as well as diesel for military needs. Also at night, Ukrainian drones hit the logistics hub of the Ozon company. This is also in the Samara region. And in the Bryansk region, repeaters used to control the drones with which the aggressor country's army terrorizes Ukrainian cities and villages were destroyed. Also, online reports mention a drone attack on the port in the city of Yeysk, which is in the Krasnodar Krai. Preliminary reports indicate that a vessel was damaged there,